2 days before Charlie Kirk was assassinated in Utah, there was an article in a magazine called Jezebel, and the author of the article had been around with Etsy looking for witches to curse Charlie Kirk. And apparently the author of the article was successful in getting some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk. So this article was published 2 days before Charlie Kirk was brutally and horribly assassinated in Utah. There's a lot of online discussion in the kind of spiritual community, so like neo-pagans and witchy people and tarot readers and psychics and all of us guys over here in the weird side of social media have been discussing it. And I haven't said anything because I thought it was too soon. But now people are starting to talk about it. I thought I will throw my hat in. There's a lot of speculation that the curse just wouldn't have worked. And I'm here to tell you today that on one level it did. It frightened Charlie Kirk and his wife so much that they called a Catholic priest in to bless them and to help remove the curse energy from around them. So one part of saying you're cursed is letting people know they're cursed. And they did that in a very public way. So there's that energy. And that is still vile energy, don't get me wrong. The other part is they've put this out into the ether, yeah? Very publicly. A lot of people who are spiritual won't have the same beliefs and won't have the same experiences and won't have the same connection, whatever, as another person with spiritual. It's a smorgasbord. That being said, when that went out, there will have been people who are into, let's say, the more darker stuff, into, say, the more effective stuff, that can say, oh, this energy is going towards him, let's amp it up. And that might sound weird, but trust me, I really do believe that there's been something there. So in my mind, something happened, because it's just, there was some push, there's something happened. So in effect, the curse worked on one level, but it's potentially worked on another. I'm going to ask the cards about that, though. It's interesting as well. I've been sitting trying to do this reading, and 3 times I had interruptions. A car basically backfired outside my home, which never happens when it's really quiet here. It's like, it was like on the street driving along, and something's gone on. It's just like went boom. And the next thing, there was some technical issues, as always. But the third thing was, there's just been somebody absolutely braying at my front door for no reason. And it's just weird today. So I decided to start again, and I called in all of the spirit stuff and Archangel Michael and protectors. So there's that. So I just want to say, when I sit down to read on the royals, or I sit down to read on anything, usually there isn't this kind of pushback. Usually there isn't these coincidences. So let us have a look into Charlie Kirk and that spell to see I'm going to take that. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to see what else comes out for the middle. But we are going to have a look at Charlie Kirk and that spell and see what's going on. So straight away, we have the 5 of Swords. There was more details about this than we know about the spell, about the people who work the spell, about other people who came into it. There was other details there. They took something that wasn't their own. Monetary value. Okay, let me just pull one card, see what's crossing over. And the Eight of Swords. Lots of swords here. Lots of unearned money. So people have been doing... The problem is, if anyone's added to this energy, they're going to get some pushback, because we've got the Ten of Swords there. Sorry, it's the Ten of Swords. A massive betrayal. Stabbed in the back. Very publicly. The Hermit in reverse. Lack of knowledge. And the Four of Cups underneath. Unreceptive. This person who has put this, we know about the person who wrote for Jezebel. I just want to say they were dumb, they were ignorant, they didn't get some right advice, and they have followed some very, very dodgy stuff. Yeah. They're not receptive to the responsibilities here. Let's have a look. The Ace of Cups is in reverse. That's Spirit. That's the Magician in reverse. They did it, man. That's it. They did it. Bye. Yeah. This worked, man. The Magician in reverse. It's like something that can't get things together, fragmented, but there's also an interpretation that it's a dark magician. The Ace of Cups in reverse. I think that this energy work, this spell, was done by a bunch of people, various people, because she didn't just get one spell, she got others, right? So there was about, I think she said there was about 2 or 3 spells in this whole thing in the article. The article's gone now, by the way. Thank goodness. But she said that there was like layers into this, like there was more than one, and they were like hoping it. If you send that much energy at somebody, what do you think's going to happen? She just thought it was a bit of a laugh, you know, and if you ever got wet socks or somebody threw some milkshake at them or something like that, it would be a bit of a laugh. And, you know, did the Jezebel curse cause this? You know, I just want to point out as well that with the Kirks being so religious and so Christian, that this article was in a magazine called Jezebel. Now, my biblical knowledge is not so strong, so somebody please correct me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure Jezebel was something to do with end times in the Bible, and like not in a good way. So there's that. So somebody please correct me if I'm wrong about that. So there's also that layer to it. So I can understand why the Kirk family was freaked out. It's a mind game. It's a betrayal. The Magician crossing over. And the Eight of Swords entrapped. And the Death card in reverse. The only person who hasn't shown up yet is the Devil. I'm quite surprised, but I'm not surprised by the Magician in reverse and Death in reverse here. The Eight of Swords, it's too late. The energy is there. It's trapped in. It's locked in. And that energy that was sent to Charlie Kirk is now rippling out everywhere, and it's caused ructions. But what will happen, the people who sent that curse better have their protection up and everything, because the energetic rebounding from that ill will being sent is going to be really bad for them. Really bad for them. The Eight of Swords there, they're entrapped by it. And the Death card in reverse surrounding this energy that the people have sent, the Death card in reverse, it's basically they've gone like too far. You know, this is going to be a change in their, not only in their spiritual practice, but a change in their lives somehow. Spirit of Swords. Police? Where's the police? Police. Quick action. So yeah, it was the spell. The next question is, was it meant to kill, or was it was this I know it was the gunman, I know it was that, but the timing and everything, this wouldn't have helped. This hasn't helped, but there is the spell did have an impact, a massive impact. The 5 of Pentacles there. The people around the spell now have got this scarcity, worried about losing things. Let me have a look and just have a see. With the Spirit of Swords, I'm expecting more. I'm expecting somebody else to do stuff. I'm expecting more people to lean into this kind of like, you know, Etsy witchcraft vibe. You don't mess with this stuff. You don't. You really shouldn't. And if you do things like this publicly, very publicly, you are inviting more people to either send you energy back. Notice their faces aren't out there. Notice their names really aren't out there. There's no necessarily targetable way to get them back. And that energy will come back to them anyway. But you know, another energy worker might send them something. You know, it's starting to sound like Madame Mim and Merlin in The Sword and the Stone. But there is this whole energy that they send this stuff to each other. You know, this is the occult. This is the unseen. There is a lot of ego involved in a lot of magical traditions and sects, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff. So, was it done with an intent to cause death? Because it did. The 8 of Swords. There's you're bound. I think it wasn't. I think the Jezebel people have just. There's the Knight of Swords as well. Oh, I wonder if they're being what. There's something with like things happening very quickly around something to do with this. And potentially more dark magic. I know you people are going to be like, what's he on about? There's the 5 of Pentacles above. And there's the Ace of Swords underneath. No, it wasn't intended. They wanted him out of the public sphere, shall you say. They wanted him reduced. They wanted him to kind of go away in a sense, like not have the clout, not have the aura that he had, not have the recognition that he had in American media and all that stuff. They didn't like his voice. They didn't like his influence. So they wanted him reduced. They didn't want him that reduced. Like I say, these things are so powerful. There's the 2 of Wands in reverse, the door closed. And the 4 of Wands there. Now they've definitely had their money impacted. This is what they wanted. They've got the Emperor in reverse. And the 2 of... I feel like there's something more going to happen, guys. I'm not joking. I did say earlier this year that it looks like there was going to be an assassination towards the end of the summer, late summer, and we have had it. And it would something to do, you know, it was going to be a Republican assassination. So earlier this year, I did say that it's like someone around Trump was going to get, unfortunately, attacked. And here we are. So the Emperor in reverse there. This is all the patriarchy rebalancing, all of this kind of stuff. So that's where they came. I'm not necessarily believing all of that stuff. I'm just telling you that this is the intent. They wanted to destabilize the patriarchy with the Emperor in reverse and bring balance back with the 2 of Swords around it. And of course, this is the whole point of the spell. Oh, there's the Queen of Swords. And there is the 6 of Wands in reverse. So there's a certain amount of pride in this. There's a certain amount of they wanted to come across very clear, and they wanted to have a bit of a laugh and all of that. And it has backfired. I think they wanted to kind of grow a brand on like, oh, we are the witches that gave Charlie Kirk wet socks, or we are the witches that gave Charlie Kirk a wedgie. And that has completely backfired on them. What they were hoping to do was build a new foundation for themselves. What they got is cast aside from public life. I think they regret it. I mean, I'd regret it. I don't know. Are they? I think this was meant to make their business boom. It's not. All it's going to do is drag more people. Like it's going to make more Christians and religious people wary of people who are interested in divination and working with spirits and psychics and clairvoyance. So there is that element. But yeah, there's definitely an edge there. There is definitely something here. This is a blowback. So whether you believe that it didn't work at all, or whether you believe that something, I think there is an element here that it pushed along the energy of that day. Now that day was always going to happen, but the outcome is always going to be up for debate. And you want the good energy around you for life. You don't want any of this unwanted energy sent to you, because that energy can make it more probable that the worst case scenario outcome is going to be happening. So it won't have helped. It will not have helped. That is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Tyler Robinson was possessed by a demon. Well, he was in a sense, or whoever, because there's a whole thing around that as well. However, for Charlie Kirk, there is an element in my mind. There is an element that this didn't help. Now, what would I suggest to the public? Oh, getting curses on people. I'm a great one for like, yeah, go and do what you need to do. But getting curses on people is not the way to go forward. If you want to change an outcome, work on yourself. If somebody is attacking you, ask for a spell of protection for you. Ask for the cords to be cut. You don't spin around and you ask like energetic cords between you and that person. You don't spin around and say, I'm going to curse this person because I don't like what they say. You just don't do it. Just come at. If you want to do spiritual work that is more witchy and wooey and all that kind of stuff, come from a place where you're working on yourself and where you're working on your energy and your loved one's energy and putting protective energy and keeping it light. You know, because there are so many people will use. Look, I mean, look at what we usually talk about. Yeah, there's science and there's energy that will push things along, and but sometimes that energy adds to the perfect storm. And unfortunately for Charlie Kirk, that happened to him. But anyway, guys, there you go. That is what I see in the cards with that. I know it's a little bit of a different one, but thank you so much for being here. And just like, if someone pays you off, if somebody doesn't like, just let it go, or say, I release the part of me that is irritated by the thought of you, and go about your day. That's my best advice. Anyway, guys, lots of love, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye, everyone.